Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something really interesting, looking at the connections between Psalm chapter 5 and, well, a specific part of Revelation chapter 14, verses 1 through 12.
That's right. And you might not immediately think to put them together, but we're going to explore how they give us some pretty deep insights into true worship and, what God's people are really like.
Yeah, what marks them out. So our kind of mission here is to see what these, ancient texts can tell us about living faithfully right now.
Exactly. One's this incredibly personal prayer, Psalm 5, and the other is this big prophetic picture in Revelation 14. We're drawing on an analysis that compares them.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with the contrast they both draw between the righteous and the wicked.
Good place to start. Psalm chapter 5, verses 4 through 6 is really direct about it.
Yeah, it says, "For you are not a God who takes pleasure in wickedness, nor shall evil dwell with you. The boastful shall not stand before your eyes. You hate all workers of iniquity. You shall destroy those who speak falsehood. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and deceitful man." Wow, pretty strong words.
Very strong. And then fast forward to Revelation chapter 14, and you find the remnant people described as irreprehensible. That's in verse 5.
And verse 4 mentions they were not defiled with women, for they are virgins.
Which is often taken to mean spiritual purity, right? Loyalty to God.
Exactly. It's symbolic language for being untainted by, let's say, false religious systems or compromising loyalties. So you see this thread, God's holiness demands separation from evil. It's consistent.
It goes way back, like the idea of the tabernacle, and forward to the New Jerusalem in Revelation chapter 21, verse 3, God dwelling with his people.
Precisely. Which really makes you pause and think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How are we, practically separating ourselves from things that clash with God's character?
That's a challenging thought. Okay, another big parallel seems to be this focus on truth. Oh, absolutely. Look at Psalm chapter 5 again, verse 9. It describes the wicked saying, "For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is destruction. Their throat is an open tomb. They flatter with their tongue." Just total insincerity.
And then, boom, Revelation chapter 14, verse 5 says about the remnant, "And in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God."
The contrast is stark. And it's fascinating when you think about where lies originate, biblically speaking.
Genesis chapter 3, right.
Yeah.
The serpent in the garden.
Exactly. Verses 1 through 5 lay that out. And Jesus himself, in John chapter 8, verse 44, calls Satan the father of lies.
So, when both Psalm 5 and Revelation 14 emphasize truthfulness for God's people and deceit for the opposition,
it's showing that speaking truth, living truthfully, isn't just like good manners. It's aligning ourselves with God's actual nature. It's part of the cosmic struggle against deception.
that really elevates the importance of just being honest, day to day. Okay, what about worship? That seems central too.
Huge. Yeah, the analysis we're drawing from really flags worship as a core issue. Maybe the core issue in the great conflict.
In Psalm chapter 5, verse 7, David says, "But as for me, through the abundance of your steadfast love, I will enter your house. I will bow down toward your holy temple in the fear of you." You see his posture, his reverence.
Absolutely. And then you jump to Revelation chapter 14, verse 7, and you have this angel shouting, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come. And worship him who made the heaven and the earth and sea and springs of water."
A direct command to worship the Creator.
And it's interesting, the word worship comes up again and again in Revelation, especially chapter 13. It really highlights this choice everyone has to make. Who are you going to worship? The Creator or something else?
You mentioned fear of you in the Psalm and fear God in Revelation. Let's unpack that a bit. It doesn't mean being terrified, does it?
No, not in the sense of cowering fear. It's much more about profound reverence, awe, respect for God's incredible holiness and majesty. It's acknowledging he's God, he's supreme. It's the opposite of the arrogance. Psalm 5 talks about in verse 5, "The boastful shall not stand before your eyes." So it's this deep, humble respect.
Right, that changes how you read it. Now, how do these texts talk about, how we even get to God, how we're accepted?
Well, both make it really clear that it's about God's mercy and grace. It's not something we earn.
Psalm chapter 5, verse 7 starts with David saying, "But as for me, through the abundance of your steadfast love, I will enter your house." He knows it's God's love letting him in.
Exactly. And you see the same idea in Revelation chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. The remnant, they're standing there with the Lamb on Mount Zion. How?
Because of the Lamb, because of his sacrifice.
Precisely. Their position there, that closeness to God, it's not earned by their own perfection. It's a gift. It's received because of who the Lamb is and what he did.
It always comes back to grace. which I guess leads into this idea of guilt being removed.
Yes, that's another fascinating link. In Psalm chapter 5, verse 10, David is actually asking God to hold the wicked guilty. He prays, "Hold them guilty, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out, for they have rebelled against you." He's calling for justice.
But then Revelation 14, verse 4 and 5 describes the remnant completely differently. They're redeemed from mankind, they follow the Lamb, and crucially, they are without fault.
So what happened to their guilt?
It's gone.
Right. And how is it gone? Because the Lamb took it. That's the core of redemption. Their blamelessness isn't their own achievement. It's because their guilt was transferred to Christ.
Well, I guess that was in Isaiah chapter 53, verse 12, or 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21.
Exactly, that he became sin for us so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. It's a substitution. They're declared without fault because he took the fault.
Wow. Okay, so if someone has experienced that kind of grace, that removal of guilt, how do they respond? What's the natural reaction?
Well, both passages point to joy and praise, a big outpouring of it.
Psalm chapter 5, verse 11 says, "But let all those rejoice who put their trust in you. Let them ever shout for joy, because you defend them. Let those also who love your name be joyful in you." It's about joy flowing from trust and protection.
And then you hear it in Revelation chapter 14, verses 2 and 3. John hears this incredible sound from heaven, like roaring water, like thunder, like harps.
And they were singing a new song before the throne.
Yeah. It's not just quiet relief, it's exuberant praise. It's the sound of people who know they've been rescued and are safe in God's care.
It makes sense that praise would be the response. Now, is there also a sense of needing to share this?
Definitely. That comes through loud and clear in Revelation. Look at chapter 14 again, verses 6 and 7.
Right, the angel flying in midair, having the eternal gospel to proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people.
Proclaiming it with a loud voice, calling them to fear God and give him glory. It seems experiencing God's mercy, understanding his character, his name, his reputation. It creates this compulsion almost to share it.
It's not something you can keep to yourself.
Right. It's like this final, urgent, loving offer of mercy and truth to the whole world. You have this good news, this understanding of who God really is, and you have to make it known.
Okay, so let's try to pull these threads together. Based on this comparison between Psalm 5 and Revelation 14, what are the key characteristics of this last day remnant people?
Well, several things really stand out, don't they? There's moral and spiritual purity, that separation from defilement.
Okay.
There's a deep commitment to truthfulness, no deceit found in them.
Right.
Their worship is focused exclusively on the Creator God. They stand purely by God's grace through the Lamb.
Yeah.
And flowing from all that, there's this inherent joy and praise.
So that's who they are. What about their mission? What are they supposed to do?
Revelation 14 is pretty explicit about that. First, proclaim the everlasting gospel, verse 6.
Okay.
Second, call everyone to worship the true Creator, verse 7. Third, warn people against false worship systems. That comes out strongly in the verses that follow, verses 9 through 11.
Right, the warning about the beast.
Exactly. And fundamentally, their mission is to reflect God's true character, to show the world who he really is through their lives.
So being part of this remnant, it's clearly much more than just like belonging to a certain church or group, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It goes much deeper. It's about your identity being rooted in redemption by the Lamb.
A personal connection.
Yes. It's about having a transformed character that actually starts looking like God's character. Truthful, loving, holy.
Okay.
It's about your worship being centered on the Creator, and it involves having this compelling mission to share the message. It's about faithfulness to the Lamb, obedience that flows from love, and reflecting his character.
Not just ticking boxes.
Not at all. And the joy and praise aren't about feeling superior. They spring from sheer gratitude for the mercy that lets us even approach God.
This has been really insightful. Connecting these two parts of Scripture, Psalm 5 and Revelation 14, really brings out these timeless themes of true worship, the absolute importance of truth, what God's faithful people look like across the ages.
It does. It definitely gives you a lot to chew on, thinking about what it means personally to fear God and give glory to him today.
For sure. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. How do these characteristics, we talk about purity, truthfulness, God-centered worship, grace, joy, how do they challenge you or maybe inspire you in your own walk with God right now?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you found this valuable. If you did, please do like this, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps get the message out there.